Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We have one of the craziest Bachelor stories of all time. That's right. This isn't hyperbole, folks. Some of the most interesting stories kind of go under the radar here in the Bachelor world. But this one, Aaron and Brayden and their family and friends and their near-death experience. Now, we reported this a few weeks back. He bought a boat. Aaron here, of course, from Bachelor in Paradise with Brayden. He bought a boat, and issues with that boat surfaced, no pun intended, and then the boat sank within 15 seconds while they were, hold on a second, folks, 17 miles off the coast. It took 3.5 hours before a miracle happened that led to their rescue. This would have been the most tragic story of all time in Bachelor Nation, but instead we've got guardian angels looking over us. So happy to hear that they have found some post near death life and light that they're sharing now. Do me a favor, follow me on Instagram at DNeals, patreon.com/Dave Neal for behind the scenes bonus content. And don't forget, every afternoon we have original content, both Bachelor and pop culture, for your entertainment podcast at Bachelor Rush Hour. So before I get into what Aaron said, let me switch monitors over here. I've got a quick report from my premiere, or at least the premiere I attended, of Fboy Island. Here is me running into Aaron and Aaron of Bachelor in Paradise.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got the Aarons with me. Live. I am so much shorter than them.
No, you aren't. No, you aren't. You're not wearing apple boxes.
First of all, look how good looking they are. It is sickening. And by the way, the lighting was fantastic over here. But either way, they were some of the nicest guys I've met from the Bachelor community. And so good to see they formed this friendship here. Of course, they were there to support Katie Thurston as she had her Fboy Island premiere. This full episode is available for you guys on our new vlog channel. Tasha Courtney and Dave Neal do fun things. But here's a quick clip of me running into Katie Thurston.
I love on Fboy Island.
We are with the star right here.
Hello.
Katie Thurston. We've already decided, we were wondering if I'm an F-boy or a good guy.
Dave is totally an F-boy.
All right, what do you guys think? F-boy or a nice guy? Which one? All right, so yeah, last night was the premiere of Fboy Island, and my wife and I did a full review while getting Taco Bell. So if you want to see our review, and if you want to see all the gear we used and the new Tesla, I mean, I really have got the thing set up. I did my first drone shot. Did you guys see this? Just real quick, some love for the drone shots, please. Come on, please. That's me. I did that. That's a flying... Okay. So anyway, you can go check that out after you watch this video. We want to jump right into what the hell went down with Aaron and Brayden. Here's their quick Instagram teaser, and then we'll play the full story.
Please welcome Aaron S. to the podcast.
Woo! Where's the confetti, dude? And I know you're the question asker, but give me at least one.
Yeah.
Have you ever in your life accepted death? We're 17 miles offshore, which you might as well take a spaceship to Pluto.
Yeah.
There's no one out there. It's just us. The boat is completely underwater in 15 seconds. Gone. The deep, deep ocean wants you underneath, so it pulls you in a way that I've never been pulled before.
Wow. How crazy is this story going to be? We're going to play it in a second. But just remember, so they were in the ocean for 3.5 hours. I like to do my research. The closest ship that responded to Titanic's distress signals, the RMS Carpathia, didn't reach the lifeboats until 4 a.m., 1 hour and 40 minutes after the Titanic sank. So most people on the Titanic had upwards 3 to 4 hours in the ocean. Now, again, that was the frigid northern Atlantic. But the Pacific Ocean's very, very cold. Also, there are sharks. We'll get into that later. You guys know I had to fight off a shark recently in the Maldives. But first, let's go to a quick update of what we covered as the news broke of this story.
This was supposed to be a good day out fishing on the water, and suddenly their line gets stuck in the propeller. Their boat is sinking, and it's sinking fast. I mean, these guys were stuck in the water for hours, and they say the fact that somebody even crossed their path was nothing short of a miracle.
All right, so I'm going to share this. All right, and by the way, does Southern California not have the most beautiful reporters of all time? I mean, it's just a crime out here. The level of, okay, but very good at their job, too. Very, very good at your job, but also very pretty reporters. Okay, so you can have both, folks. All right, let's move into it. So here we have the 1440 mark. I'm going to play several clips of Aaron on Bachelor Happy Hour podcast speaking with Joe as he described the life-changing day he had out at sea. Let's take this all as a chance to remind ourselves that the life we live is not given, but every day has the chance to be a miracle.
Anytime you make a stupid decision, 90% of the time that stupid decision is pushed on you by a friend, right? Or you're going to make that decision because a friend is with you.
Yeah.
When you're by yourself, you're probably going to walk away, just like a car. When you go buy a new car.
Do you think you would have walked away if Braden was like, nah, bro, I'm out. I can't do it.
Hell no, I'm not putting that on Braden. Braden didn't buy this boat, but he's like my hype man. So of course I'll be like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's get this boat. We see it. This thing is beautiful.
Boat.
Pay for a whole inspection. Guy charges me $500, inspects the boat, sends me a 10-page report, all systems a go. Hull, engine, bait tank, everything on this boat is right, perfect, ready to go. I bring it home. I start noticing little things on it that aren't working. The trailer's broken. I fix the trailer. The stabilizer flaps break. The first time I take it out, I call a mechanic. I get that fixed. And these are all little orange flags, right, that start adding up. But in your stokedness, you kind of overlook some of those orange flags.
He needs to write a book. What you do in your stokedness. Yeah, when you see an orange flag when you're stoked, you're like, put some duct tape on it. Come on, let's get out of here. We got to go.
Oh, well, you know what? Like, I fixed these things. You know, now that this is fixed, then nothing else is going to break. Mind you, this boat is old. It's from the 70s. Mm-hmm. And the gentleman who I bought it from had told me that he had redone it in his driveway.
Sure.
Fiberglass, gel coat, and stringers. Stringers are the backbone of a boat. Those are the ones that run down the spine. There's usually two of them that run down the spine of a boat, down the hole. And so, this is the crazy. If I would have this is the thing that kills me. If I would have brought my dad on this boat, I would have killed him that day. And so I joke around with these guys and I say, like, this was bound to happen. This boat was going to sink at some point. And I am so thankful that I sunk it with Braden, my buddy Gavin, who's another firefighter, Braden's dad, and Braden's uncle. If I would have sunk it with anyone else on this planet, one of us would not have come home.
I was so lucky to meet Braden and his dad, who, by the way, looks like his older brother. Their age difference is like 5 years. It's ridiculous. But you got Braden, who was in the military, right? And you've got Aaron, who's a fireman, and then I believe Braden's dad also was in the military. You've got first responders. They all know exactly what to do. I mean, Aaron, I don't know if we've celebrated a guy like him enough on this channel, and I'm not just saying that because I met him and I think he's a nice guy, but when you're a first responder, or in his case specifically a fireman, that's like a big deal. Like, a lot of these people come onto the TV show with really just, rudderless, another pun here, rudderless life. But this is a guy who chose a career and a passion that specifically runs into the fire when everyone else runs out. This is a guy you want if you're in a situation like this.
It was that crazy.
Oh, okay. So how far out are you and how does it sink?
Yeah. So this is crazy. We're 17 miles offshore, which you might as well take a spaceship to Pluto. There's no one out there. It's just us. And everything's going fine, man. We're having fun. We're being guys. We're peeing off the boat, jumping off the swim deck. For people that fish or don't know how to fish, when you're going for Dorado or tuna, yellowtail tuna or yellowfin tuna, you're looking for boilers in the water. So we get to a certain GPS waypoint, which is 17 miles offshore. Everything's fine. And you're looking for kelp patties.
All right, so he says 17 miles offshore. So if we look at our here's 20 miles right here. So if you look up, I don't know if you guys can see this, the scale. It's basically 1 inch off of San Diego. So they're literally like over here somewhere. You have to imagine they are literally in the middle of nowhere in the North Pacific Ocean, folks. The middle of nowhere. Days could go by where no one would recognize them or cross their paths. Absolutely horrifying that as they're sinking, they realize how screwed they are.
Or a bunch of boils in the water. And so we find a kelp patty. We stop throwing bait. At this point, I realize no one on the boat knows how to fish. So now I am a charter captain. My name is Aaron S. I'm the charter guy. I'm here to make sure everyone's having a good time. So I'm baiting everyone's lines for them. We're throwing them into the kelp patties. First kelp patty's empty. We're about 3 hours into this journey. 3.5 hours go by. We're at the second kelp patty. Same thing. No fish. Bait everyone's line for them. We reel up the lines. I looked at the ocean report and it said the wind was going to pick up at 11. So I told the guys, next kelp patty or boiler spot that we find, like we're out of here. We're going to fish it for a little bit. We're going to turn around and bounce.
All right, so that's the kelp. That's a kelp patty, and of course, it comes with some biodiversity, and then the fish underneath.
There. And so the boat's off. We're drifting next to the third kelp patty, and my buddy hooks onto a Dorado. Everyone goes to the front of the boat. My buddy lets the line go under the boat, and then the fish runs around the prop. The boat's off. It's not a big deal. Why you have an outboard motor on a boat is so you can bring the prop up if you get stuck in kelp, or if a line gets crossed, you can lift the prop up off the back of the boat, untangle line, drop the prop back down, you're good to go. Mind you this, I'm going to tell you this, but before I tell you this, 3 of the guys on that boat had stepped on the back of the swim deck while the boat was off prior to this event happening. All the guys are on the front of the boat. Gavin has his line. I tell Gavin, my buddy Gavin, I said, let your line out. Everything's fine. I'm going to lift the prop up, untangle your line. You're going to reel this fish in, then we're going to head home. Prop comes up. Gavin lets his line out. All systems a go until I step on the swim deck. The moment I step on the swim deck, the boat is completely underwater in 15 seconds. Gone. We don't have time to radio. We don't have time to get our phones. We don't have time for anything. And it is so unlike me to give a safety briefing.
So my guess is, if we look at just a random photo here of some of the different, here's the swim deck on the back. My guess is when he went in it, that it took on water and the nose of the boat went up and then it went straight down. That's my guess. Again, what do I know about this? Literally nothing.
For any of the activities that I do, that's just my nature. But for some weird reason, I had given them a safety briefing before they got on the boat. I showed them exactly where we were going. So some of them had texted their wives or family like, hey, we're going out to this point. I showed them where the life jackets were, every little safety piece of that boat, where the radio was. It was on channel 16 for the Coast Guard. And luckily, Braden's dad, who won MVP of that entire experience, was listening to this absolutely abysmal safety briefing that I'd given the guys.
By the way, that's so true that it's always the dad who's like listening for all and the young people are like having beers and whatever. And the dad's like, so where's the safety vessels?
And remembered where the life jackets were.
Classic.
So he dove down and opened up the hatch. And really, those life jackets are what saved us, because all of a sudden let me put this into perspective. You are having the time of your life with your closest friends, sharing an experience together that none of us really get. One moment you're having that experience, and the next moment, dude, you're floating in the deep blue, 300 feet. I mean, we're in a
treading water. You're treading water at 17 miles from shore.
Offshore, no land in sight, no boat in sight, and it's 300 feet deep. And it was the ocean. I'll tell you this: I'm a water dog, right? I was in swim lessons as a kid, champion breaststroke artist here. Surf all the time, but the deep, deep ocean wants you underneath, so it pulls you in a way that I've never been pulled before. So just getting your life jacket on with all your let's start this over. Boat sinks, life jackets get thrown out the boat.
Yeah.
Braden's tangled in fishing line. The fishing line's pulling him under with the boat. His dad swims over to him, cuts the line off of Braden. Braden comes back up. We all strip our clothes off to our chonies, except for me. I kept my Viore sweats on because they're hella expensive. And we put our life jackets on. But in that time, man, any time that you weren't in a life jacket, it just felt like the water was sucking you underneath.
Yeah.
And what a helpless feeling, right?
All right.
And
so you guys have your life. Let's get to the point. You guys have your life jackets on. What's the conversation? Like what? Because, what's the conversation?
Yeah, I mean, it's fight or flight. That boat had 2 firefighters on it. Braden was military. Dad was military. Uncle is a dispatcher for a fire authority in Orange County, right? Okay. So all of us come from a first responder background.
Is everybody in physical shape?
I wouldn't say great physical shape, but when I say we were in the water for 3.5 hours, it becomes a mind game.
Yeah.
And he who wins will last. And if there's anything that you need to know about situations like that, is fear is cancer.
Fear is cancer. So they're in the water for 3.5 hours. I'm sure the sun's starting to go down, and they're wondering, this is where great white sharks are.
I still got them, that's good.
That is so scary. That's just a crazy, crazy, scary story. How did you get saved? You're out there for how long? 3.5 hours treading water?
Mm-hmm. First hour and a half, it was shock. Right? We always have these bad dreams. We wake up for them, right? You're sleeping. All of a sudden you feel a thud in your chest, right? And you wake up before the plane crashes or you fall off a building. Before you hit the ground, you always feel this thud in your chest and you wake up. And so the whole time, for an hour and a half, I am believing that this is a shit dream. Like, this has got to be a bad, bad dream. And I'm just not waking up for some reason. And then I started dealing with some real ass shit. Like, I started shivering bad. And then I started cramping up because all I had was coffee in the morning. And then I knew at that point, hour and a half into it, my time card got punched. And that's when the realization of things being real really hit me. And, we were all really in a survival mode for 3.5 hours. And it was anything and everything we could do to stay warm. We all linked arms. The water was 68 degrees, 69 degrees. Doesn't sound cold to you.
No,
or
it's
people
cold.
Listening to that, but what do our bodies run at, Joe? Like 97 something or 98.
Yeah.
That cold water's sucking the heat right out of your body. And so we're linking arms to stay warm and staying close to stay warm. And it was only until a boat magically appeared at a kelp patty a mile away where my boat initially sank. They fished that same kelp patty and came up empty. And one of the guys on that boat had binoculars and saw something shining in the water.
So it wasn't that they ran into them. It said that moment where you just stop and you make that choice. Is that something we need to look at over there? And of course, that saved their lives. And it'd be a completely sad and tragic story we'd be discussing if we didn't have that amazing miracle happen. So as you guys know, I've been sharing my story here. I've said it obviously in fun here. It's been kind of a joke, but ran into this shark while I was in the Maldives, and people said, "Oh, it's a nurse shark, no big deal." And I understand the Maldives are like 80-degree water, and it's whatever. It's not 17 miles off with 300-foot deep water, so not a big issue on my end. But then someone sent me this: shark attack, nurse on nurse violence. Nurse shark attacks nurse. And there's actually a video here of the same shark not just attacking this nurse, but doing it in the Maldives where I was. So apparently I was in greater danger than I was led to believe. They said, "Oh, they don't attack you." Well, they do apparently, but either way, I've lived to tell another tale. And in a serious note, we are very grateful that Aaron, Braden, and their family and friends are able to live another day and share this wild story. We'll have more content for you coming right after this.